If I could encourage you to come into the main auditorium, we can get started with the rest of the AGM. Thank you. Right, we'll make a start to the AGM. Well, Mike is sitting down the front here with the board members. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the NAViGO AGM. We've got quite a bit to get through this afternoon, including some staff awards and announcing winner of the projects of the year. Can I just remind staff in particular that you can get your flu jabs all throughout the day. So the team are just in the room here on the left-hand side and they'd be very pleased to see you. So I hope you've all enjoyed your lunch. I hope the two-sitting service worked well. And I'd like to formally welcome you to NAViGO's AGM. The AGM brings together our staff, service users, carers and partners, and the purpose of this part of our AGM is to account for all of the achievements made over the last 12 months against the objectives that we set ourselves at the start of the year, and many of those objectives came from the priorities of our members and our membership. You'll also hear from Anna about our financial position and also something about our future plans. Also a big thank you at this point to members of our BAME network for the Celebrating Diversity session, which we'll be enjoying later on in the agenda. Obviously, this afternoon is also a chance to celebrate the many achievements of our staff and volunteers, and the members have organised 5 AGM award categories, and the winners will be announced at 3:15. You now have until 2:30 to vote for Project of the Year. You've got another 15 minutes because we're running slightly late. And this will be your last chance really to vote for Project of the Year, and the voting station is just on the left in the front foyer. And as I said earlier today, we've got 5 key projects: breathing space at Hope Court, the holistic well-being, which is the summer house on the allotment, extending the perinatal buggy fitness classes, not just from running into the summer, but also running in autumn and winter, Sing Along, which is a virtual choir, and Well Vend, the introduction of a 24-hour vending machine providing healthy snacks at Harrison House. So do vote using the orange chip you were given when you registered. At this point, I'd like to introduce the board members. So if they could stand as I mention their name. So I will start with our non-executive directors. Kathy Kennedy, our Deputy Chairman. Thank you, Kathy. Andrew Waterhouse, Independent Non-Executive Director. Claire Avery, our Community Non-Executive Director. And Toby Ben Babatunde, our BAME board member as well. Thank you. As I said earlier, Jo Keane, our staff non-exec director on the board, couldn't be with us today. In terms of executive directors, your chief executive, Simon. Our deputy chief executive, Mike Reeve. Anna Morgan, our director of corporate affairs. And Janine Smith, Chief Operating Officer. Thank you, Janine. Thank you. I'd like to thank each and every one of the board members for their support and for the very significant contribution that they all make to the successful work of the NAViGO board. So thank you all. Thank you. A final reminder that in your pack you will have received an AGM voting card. Please raise that voting card when we ask whether you agree disagree or abstain from each of the individual proposals. So you should have that voting card available to you. The first thing we need to do within our formal AGM is to receive the minutes from the AGM that we held last year on Tuesday the 24th of September 2024. Could I please ask members to approve these minutes, which have been made available for everyone to read on the NAViGO website, and a hard copy has been available today. So could you please raise your voting cards to approve the minutes? Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, we're now going to move on to hear from our Chief Executive, Simon, who's going to look back at the year. But before I do that, I would just like to record my thanks and the thanks of the board to Simon and to his team, to the executive team, for their outstanding leadership and stewardship of NAViGO. Everybody knows how challenging it has been nationally in the health and social care sector over the last few years. And to be able to present the kind of results that you will be hearing this afternoon is an extremely strong testament not only to the qualities of the NAViGO leadership team, but also to the commitment, dedication and contribution of every member of NAViGO and Nurtrio staff. So a massive thank you to you all from the NAViGO board. A big hand now as we welcome your Chief Executive, Simon, onto the stage.
Right. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you, Jane, for that. We do, as you know, we work very hard as an executive team, and everybody in the organisation works really hard, and it's all that combination of effort that makes the organisation what it is. So are you moving slides on, Brad? Thank you. So yeah, 2024-25, so obviously we're a few months into 25-26 now, but this is around the year 24-25. So I just wanted to give some, and to be honest with you, some of this has changed this morning, as it always does, as I walk around and experience our organisation on AGM day. Some of what I want to say changes, but I think one of the key things about our organisation and what we're so proud of, and I think what we heard this morning, if you were here on for the seminar, the Sequoia seminar, I think that encapsulates absolutely everything in one service that our organisation is about. And what I wanted to say was how I think we stay true to our values as an organisation. When I talk about our values, that's finding people somewhere to live, somewhere to work and someone to love. You know, your traditional mental health services don't do that in the NHS. What they do is they diagnose people, they treat them and then they discharge them. We don't as an organisation. The special bit about our organisation is how we wrap our arms around people and we try and support them to live the best life they can. And I can't say that any better than was said this morning on the stage for the Sequoia presentation. I think that just shows you, for me, that organisations, they're constructs. It's a set of departments and things that all work sort of interdependently and dependently of each other. But what it shows me is the very, very best bit about our organisation is where we've got heart and where we've got soul and where we actually deliver services for people and we patch their lives back together, and we do that with care and compassion and the stuff that we do. We can build an organisation, anyone can build an organisation, but for it to have a heart and a personality is what we hold really, really dear in this organisation, and it's something that we need to carry with us when we're looking at new bits of service and things like that. It's about how do we keep that heart, the heartbeat of the organisation really strong, and that's the bit I'm so proud of, and that's why I'm so proud to lead this organisation. 24-25 has been another really, really positive year for us as an organisation. You know, Jane's already said, we know that the environment out there is very, very challenging in health and care. It's never been more challenging. Quite honestly, I think we probably say that every year, but I can say hand on heart, it's never, ever been as challenging as it is now, and I'll come on to a little bit more about that later. Yet again, we get hugely positive staff and user feedback. So the NHS staff survey that comes out every year, it's coming out in the next couple of weeks, please fill that out. The service user survey is out there now for people to fill out who use our services, and yet again we perform outstandingly well for people who work in our organisation and people who receive support. again, there are 3 nights in my working year when I lay awake at night. I exaggerate a bit, but I snore a lot, my wife says, but I lay awake at night for about 30 seconds before I go to sleep, thinking about and worrying about. One of them is today. I have this recurring dream where I'm going to turn up at the AGM and no one's here, and I'm talking to an empty room. So I'm pleased that hasn't happened again this year. The other one is the night before the NHS staff survey results come out, because that tells me whether this is a good place to work. And the other one is the night before the CQC's community survey results come out, because that tells me whether it's a good place to receive care. And we always have to get those things in balance. Is it a good place to work? Is it a good place to receive care? If it's a great place to work and a crap place to receive care, it's like Butlins. If it's a really good place to receive care and a crap place to work, then we're flogging our staff to death. And we've got to find that balance between those two. And I'm really grateful and fortunate to say that we do, on the whole, find that. We delivered a balanced financial position, and Anna will come on to that, so I'm not going to steal her thunder. Innovative new services and strong and strengthening partnerships. So the strategy of our organisation that you're probably not aware of, but there is one, is around 4 pillars: quality, innovation, productivity, quality, innovation, people and partnerships. So I'll come on to what we've done this year in that. The table on the right hand side, you're not going to be able to read it, but it just says we're really good at performing. We're really good at performing. You know, as NAViGO, we're a small organisation. It feels big. We've got 1,000+ staff, but when you come into the sort of the huge arena of the NHS, they're much, much bigger than us, almost 10 times the size of us. So we've got to punch above our weight to continue to exist as an organisation. And I'm pleased to say we do. Through that, strong service user feedback, strong staff feedback, and green pretty much across the board on all the performance indicators that we're asked to deliver. So thanks, Brad. So I'll go on to quality now. And I'll whistle through these. In terms of quality and making sure that we've got quality, we've got a brilliant quality and safety team now in the organisation, which has grown over the last year or so. We've implemented the patient safety incident response framework, and we got a really clean bill of health on that. In fact, patient safety incident response framework is a new way of supporting and delivering things like investigations when things have gone wrong. We were ahead of the game. They came to us and said, you're already doing most of what is new in that, so that's a real credit. Patient safety partners, we've appointed 2 patient safety partners, only one of whom I've seen here today, Sam, but I've not met Martin yet. But Sam and Martin have been appointed as patient safety partners. They are independent of the organisation, and they come in and they assess the quality of the services that we're there to deliver. So they give us that sort of independent view. The CQC's community mental health indicators, like I say, we're one of the best in the country. The people who use our services say we're one of the best in the country. We score top scores nationally as one of the top 3 or 4 organisations. Supporting people while they're waiting, that's a really high score for us. Supporting people in other areas of their life, not just their mental health diagnosis. Thank God for that. We talk about live, work, love, and we actually sort of deliver what we say we're going to deliver. Compassion and care is a really high score as well. Again, it's Mike who always says to me, if we get care right in this organisation, everything else falls into place. And I'm proud to say that we do, on the whole, according to the people who use our services, get that right. Other stuff that sort of indicates our quality, the early intervention in psychosis team, who've yet again done the display board of the year to beat. I think they've won it the last couple of years. It's amazing. Again, if you've seen it at the back, that's brilliant. They got their NCAP award, so the National Clinical Audit of Psychosis rated them at the highest level they could be. So our psychosis services are stellar out there, really good, really high quality. Electronic prescribing, we've delivered electronic prescribing right across our services as well. So this is all stuff that's building into the quality of the way our organisation works. Harrison House was re-accredited. It had a window where it wasn't accredited, but Harrison House, in our acute site, has got the adult acute inpatient mental health services accreditation again from the Royal College. Our emergency preparedness, resilience and response, EPRR response, has had a clean bill of health. It's now been audited. So if something goes wrong in our organisation catastrophically, we have got plans in place to respond to that and respond to it quickly. And that's really positive for us as well. Safeguarding Conference, the amazing safeguarding team who I've seen here again today, have put on another national/international safeguarding conference in November of last year that was attended by hundreds and hundreds of people up and down the country. It's become a sort of a firm date in the diary now with NAViGO, so that we can start to deliver really, really high quality safeguarding services. That's really good. And the Culture of Care programme, It makes sure there's a culture of care programme. It's a national programme to ensure that inpatient services are trauma-informed, autism-informed and anti-racism. And I'm pleased to say, again, that's a piece of work that's running over the next few years, but we're very much adopting that culture of care to make sure that we're getting things right. Innovation, the exciting bit, the bit that changes our services and makes them different and delivers exciting new things for us. Green and blue social prescribing, again, we've been really, really positive in that. That's the stuff that's outside of our core business to a certain extent, but I know Richard's here, one of our elected members who does the paddleboarding and stuff like that. We send a lot of people, a lot of service users and people into that sort of supporting the wider social determinants of health, if you like, not just that, let's say, the diagnosis, medication and discharge stuff. It's about getting people engaged in communities, activities, that sort of stuff. So we've been really positive in that space. We've made huge improvements in our dementia pathway, the diadem stuff that the guys were talking to me about on the board this morning. That's seen our performance in dementia diagnostics go from one of the lowest scores in the region to now one of, if not the top score in the region. So that's been a really positive innovation for us. Hopefully you've had a chance to walk around the marketplace. If you have, I'm probably preaching to the converted to a certain extent. Well Together, amazing service that we've been doing in partnership with you. Substance misuse stuff, and Nathan and the team have been to membership board and other places over the last few months, and a really, really positive partnership with you around that dual diagnosis, which has been a really, really positive addition to our services. One Front Door, hopefully you all know about One Front Door. That is the service where people can come to the organisation and they will receive that whole support, that holistic support. Brilliant One Front Door team wrapped into the Tukes model, who will now see people who are referred to them where they need help with debt or housing or relationships or some of the things that don't necessarily fit in that narrow mental health lens, but really do help support people in that sort of wider life stuff. Service desks, we've got now service desks, new innovations across our DSI team, our data systems and insights team, and our estates team, which make it a lot easier for people to interact with our back office functions, if you like, and get things sorted and fixed and repaired quickly. And we've also developed some artificial intelligence pilots. There'll be a lot more about artificial intelligence coming in the next year or so, but we're already on that trajectory of starting to pilot some stuff that's going to hopefully help us move into the next decade, if you like, of where AI is going to become ever more present in our lives. And if you haven't had a chance, put the headphones on and listen to the DSI guys' presentation that's on the right-hand side behind us. It's really, really positive stuff. Thanks, Brad. Carers Wall at Harrison, so mugshot there of Rachel and Kelly, who identified that carer space at Harrison. We recognised that we weren't all that strong actually at supporting carers, albeit our CQC community survey does say we're good at that. I think we can be much, much better when people come into that crisis space engaging carers and families, and so hopefully now we are. We moved Safe Space to online, so Safe Space is now in person and online. That's a new innovation that we brought in so people can actually dial in and get that support when they can't get to NAViGO House on an evening for Safe Space. I'm going through this fast, aren't I? Grimsby Garden Centre, ministerial visit. We continue to sort of push the dial really with what we do at Grimsby Garden Centre. People come to us and go, oh my God, I can't believe the mental health organisation owns and runs a garden centre and deliberately employs people with mental health difficulties in that way. And they've come forward and now they want an allotment at the back, and the allotment at the back is brilliant. So we continue to move that facility on. What to expect videos, thanks to those guys who were there at the launch at the Parkway Cinema. Again, we're doing some innovative stuff where we recognise that people are anxious before they come to appointments. They don't know what the building looks like, they don't know where they're coming to. So now we've started to do some what to expect videos, so people can do a walkthrough of our sites and things like that. And also the rollout of Bridget, or is it called Brigid? Well, Bridget is the System 1 app on people's phones, so you can get quick and easy access to your records. So again, we're always looking at ways to innovate. In terms of people, we've refreshed our staff induction, so hopefully people are much more seamlessly now finding their way into the organisation, ticking all the boxes they need to from their statutory and mandatory training, etc. We've reintroduced managers' timeout sessions, so that's a sort of forum for everybody who's in a senior leadership role across the organisation to come together, learn from each other, a bit of a smaller version of this, if you like, on a regular basis, just to get those ideas shared amongst the teams. Our staff and community membership, I'm a bit of a spoiler alert because this happened this year, not last year, but our staff and community membership has now tipped over 1,000 people, which is a massive, massive accolade for us to have that many staff shareholders and that many people wanting to be part of our organisation is a real feather in our cap, I think. We've signed up to be a foster-friendly organisation, so that's in partnership with the local authority. So anybody who's thinking of becoming a foster parent can now get flexible terms and conditions with the organisation to enable them to take that role on whilst working. As I've mentioned, the staff survey and the CQC community survey already, that's about our people. We are the best organisation in the country to work for. So the NHS score us across what they call 7 people plan promises, and then an overall staff morale and an overall staff engagement score. And we are the best organisation in the NHS organisation in the country to work for across all 7 people plan promises and staff morale and staff engagement. And that doesn't come without a lot of hard work that goes into delivering the services that we do. Supporting our people again, My Menopause Matters. You might have been here last year. My Menopause Matters was the project of the year, and we're looking forward to working with them to develop that project and land it. OSCE success. Lots and lots of our staff over the last few years, mainly our international recruits, have been really successful in passing, I've written this down somewhere, the objective structured clinical examination. So that basically enables our staff to transfer into qualified roles. Our international recruits, that's been huge for us. Armed Forces Coffee Morning, I can see Ruth somewhere. Ruth and Fiona, our co-production leads, have been really positive in working with our Armed Forces Coffee Morning, which just goes from strength to strength to strength. Every time you see it on our socials, there seems to be more and more people there, so that's getting a real life of its own. The BAME network, hopefully you've had a chance to engage with them today. BAME network goes from strength to strength. Massive credit to Toby, our non-executive director, who has really, really launched into that. We've all hopefully got our badges on today around supporting our BAME colleagues. All our wonderful groups, and I've written some of these down as well as I was going through last night. So groups are sort of the heartbeat of the organisation. It's where people get that, live, work, love, the love bit, the sense of belonging. People get a lot of that from our groups. So from horticulture, paddleboarding, crafts, yarn fairies, forget-me-nots, LGBT, youth movement, neuro parents group, dance group, drama group, badminton, etc., etc., etc. You see it all the time. It's a space for people to exist. Again, we heard that this morning at the Sequoia one. These groups that are run by the fantastic teams that are sort of behind the scenes in our organisation really do provide a space for people to come and be and just exist and as I say, get that sort of overall sense of belonging. And stuff that we do all the time as an organisation, just to keep the culture of the organisation live. You see a couple of colleagues have come to me at lunchtime from external organisations who've been invited and gone, why do people go so excited about your display board? So I told the story of the display boards. There's a trophy for the display board. It's that sort of stuff that keeps the organisation live. That sense of competition and that Christmas celebrations, Deck the Halls. I had the privilege of judging Deck the Halls competition this year. My God, you guys go for it. You proper go for it at Christmas. It's brilliant. And it's just like the display boards. Just that. I think it just gives you that sense of an organisation that's happy in itself and comfortable and does that, and it fills my heart to see it. Awards, we've got many. We've had quite a few awards this year. The Nurse Preceptorship Programme, thanks Catherine, because Catherine Small's been huge in that. That got a gold award. Emma Gibney, you've probably seen, we've got the Aim High Award, and we've got a national award. So that's the National Award for Infant Mental Health Services, so big credit to Emma. We're always winning trophies. Sequoia won another trophy, but that's this year. We've got a trophy cabinet as an organisation. We win some awards, which is always really positive. So finally, in terms of partnerships, we've got loads of partnerships going on in and around the organisation. So Well Together, I've already spoke about. That's a partnership with you, the guys who do the substance misuse services. Our Neuro Awards, our Neuro team, our Young People's Neuro team. I don't know if any of them are here, but I know Lauren King's been key in that. They were shortlisted for a Health Service Journal Award, which again is a huge credit to them, but that's a partnership between the ICB, the local authority, and ourselves. Children's residential care, we have now bought a children's home, we have now appointed a registered manager for our children's home. That's very much done in partnership with the local authority and Nurtrio and others as well, so exciting times ahead for children's residential care for us. The Great Grimsby 10K, we're always a big presence at the 10K, working again across the partners in the patch. Foster Friendly, I've already covered. And Nothing About Us Without Us, that's a partnership with the Humber North Yorks ICB, where we send a group of young people off to York to sort of share their experiences and talk about moving that programme about organisations doing nothing about us without us. So I'm clearly running out of time, as I would do. Lots of partnerships with local employers. Big shout out to IPS, that's Individualised Placement and Support Team, and our Employment Advisors team, under Joe's stewardship, but with Ross Albury at the helm. Partnerships with local employers, trying to get people with a lived experience into that sort of gainful work and activity. The Grimsby Town Partnership continues. The mugshot there of the guys between Christmas and New Year wrapped up warm, getting the message out about young people's mental health and mental health into things like into the football club. My brain was just ahead of me there. Have we got anybody to interview this afternoon? Did you see that Jason Stockwood's become now Lord Stockwood? And whether that's because I interviewed him last year and now he's become, yes, stand on this stage, you become a Lord. Health and Care Partnership, we continue to work closely with our Health and Care Partnership colleagues. I'll come on to more about that another time. Mental health partnerships, we work very closely across the whole of the Humber and North Yorkshire with our other partners from Rotherham, Doncaster and South Humber, Humber Foundation Trust, Tees Escombe Weir Valley, Care Plus Group, City Healthcare Partnerships. We're always looking at, can we do things better together where we've got that sort of scale, if you like. And the Mental Health Sector Network, a big shout out to the Mental Health Sector Network. That's where, as a place, we come together with all of our voluntary partners. 5 minutes. Brilliant, thanks, John. We come together with all of our voluntary partners and start to do things together as a place, if you like. A good example of that is we've recently won £75,000 from the Legal and General Health Equity Fund in order to support organisations like Kudos and positive opportunities, creating positive opportunities, things like that. So we're sort of the anchor organisation, if you like, as NAViGO, that is enabling some of these smaller VCSE organisations to get access to funding so we can do more and do better in our communities, which is really positive. So that was a very, very quick, and I'm feeling that I even spoke fast there, but I suppose that just tells you that's a year. That is 1 year in the life of our organisation, and we've achieved a vast, vast amount across all of those 4 priorities, and we continue to move forward as an organisation, so that's really positive. And that segues me nicely into sort of the future and what does the future hold. Assuming you guys are going to put an orange card up in a bit and say that I can stay on for another 4 years, because I'm conscious. I did speak to my boy this morning, and he said, I said, oh, how do you think I look, mate? Because I've got my suit and tie and I never wear a tie. He went, oh, it gets my vote of confidence. And he didn't even know that this was happening this afternoon. I said, oh, that's good. You'd vote me to stay on as the chief exec then, would you? He went, what? He said, what happens if you don't? What happens if they say no? I said, well, I'm unemployed. Don't you get another job? But we'll be able to have some food tonight, won't we? Yes, son, yeah, we'll be able to have some food. It's all right. I'm hoping it's all right. But yeah, no, the membership can just say, find me a new chief exec, and that's it, I'm gone. So what would you do? How would you walk out of the room with that? I said, I'd just run, I think. I'd just run or hide or something. So yeah, if I'm fortunate enough to be the leader of this organisation for another 4 years, I think we've got loads of opportunities ahead of us. You only need to see and feel the enthusiasm and the energy in this room in terms of where we want to move our services to and how we are creative as an organisation. Other organisations I know in very tough financial times, and we're all in very tough financial times, are shrinking their way out of trouble. We're not an organisation that shrinks our way out of trouble. We're an organisation that tries to grow our way out of trouble, and it's that mentality, I think, that's going to drive us forward as an organisation, and that's, to a certain extent, the last bullet point. North East Lincolnshire, I don't know if you know, but North East Lincolnshire has been selected as one of the 43 pilot sites in the country to be a neighbourhood health pilot, so the National Neighbourhood Health Implementation Pilot Site. That was very, very hotly contested. Because of the relationships we've got in North East Lincolnshire, we are we've been selected, if you like, to be that neighbourhood health pilot, which means much closer working right across our system. So that'll mean us as an organisation working much closer with the Care Plus groups, Focuses, Diana Princess of Wales Hospital, Primary Care, St Hugh's, St Andrews, the voluntary community and social enterprise sector, to do that sort of neighbourhood approach to health and care so people can get access to the support they need as close to their doorstep as is possible. And we're really excited about where that might go over the next couple of years or so. Existing and new partnerships, we're an open organisation. We're an organisation that loves to partner with other people. Where we can't do it best, we very, very deliberately look for people who can do it better for us. And that, those partnerships that we've got already are really strong, and we're always open for new ones, new ideas, new innovations, and new partnerships. Politics, big P and small p. I could take about an hour on this, but John's going to give me a 1 minute warning in a minute. He's just give me a 1 minute warning. What I mean by big P is, and this is being recorded, what I mean by big P is mental health, learning disabilities and autism, guys, I'm afraid, is not on this government's agenda. I would say almost at all, but it is not on this government's agenda. This government's agenda is around acute hospitals, waiting times, ambulance handover times, elective surgery, etc. It is not about mental health, learning disability and autism. So it is going to be a challenging few years for us. In the last few years, we've had the mental health investment standard, which meant the government had to invest in mental health more than it did in physical health. That was a big, big fight to get that this year. It stayed, but the National Director for Mental Health hasn't stayed. She's left, she's gone, and will not be replaced. So we haven't even got a voice at the heart of government now for mental health, learning disabilities and neuro. I'm sorry, I can't flower that up in any other way other than it's going to be tough, but there's opportunities out there. There are opportunities for us to do things differently and creatively and sort of be masters of our own destiny, if you like. The small P is there's a lot of stuff going on around us as well. You might know the government as well is changing the way that the NHS is delivered. So NHS England won't exist anymore in the future. That's going to be merged with the Department of Health and Social Care. ICB boundaries are being redrawn. There's lots of stuff going on where the structures around us are moving. To a certain extent, we just need to try to ignore that, be a part of it as much as it affects us, try to ignore that, get our head down and continue to deliver the great services we do. But you sort of need to know that mental health, learning disabilities and neuro is not a priority for this government, and so we need to sort of fight and continue to fight for that. And to continue to enhance our membership, Julie and the team are doing a brilliant job in terms of getting that membership. We've got over the magic 1,000 mark now. It's how do we continue to keep the voices of the people who work in our services and the people who receive our services right at the front and centre of what we do. And finally, just to finish that, finish off, it's been a brilliant year. 24-25 has been a brilliant year, and I'm sure 25-26 will be equally as good a year. I think it's key as an organisation now that with everything else that's going on around us that I've just rambled out in about 30 seconds there, it's a glass half full approach. We can do this as an organisation. We can. When we work together, look what we can achieve. Look at Sequoia, look at us all crying. If you weren't crying this morning, I was. Yeah, the closer we can get together, the closer we can work together, the more we can get through this, and I'm sure we will do. And I'd love to lead you again for another 4 years. So thank you guys. Take care.
Thank you, Simon. Uplifting as always. Yes, it is a difficult context for us to work in, but I share Simon's confidence that 25-26 will be another successful year. Right, we've now got a number of resolutions that we need to deal with as members. We've got 2 members' resolutions, we've got a special resolution, and then we've got an ordinary resolution. The member resolutions deal with the reappointment of the chairperson, that's me, and the chief executive, that's Simon. And as these concern my role, I obviously declare an interest at this point, and Cathy Kennedy, my deputy chairman, will now take over chairmanship of the meeting to manage those members' resolutions. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I'm looking forward to Simon making good his promise that anyone comes up here becomes a lord. I'm not quite sure that's going to be physically possible, but we'll see. So, this first member's resolution is to reappoint Jane Lewington as chairperson for a further term of up to 4 years, ending with the annual general meeting in 2029. So members will be invited to hold up their orange cards to vote either for the resolution, so that she does continue, against the resolution, so Jane would not continue in that role, or to withhold your vote. So you've got 3 options. I'll take them in that order. So please could you, those of you who wish to vote for the resolution for Jane to continue, hold up your card. Thank you. Could those of you who wish to vote against the resolution hold up your card? No takers? And has anyone decided they wish to withhold or abstain from voting? No. In that case, with 100% of the vote, Jane will be asked to continue for another 4 years. So the second members' resolution is to reappoint Simon Beaton as Chief Executive. I don't think he's made that clear, has he? So just to make it clear, it's to reappoint Simon Beaton as Chief Executive for a further term of up to 4 years, ending with the annual general meeting in 2029. Same 3 options in the same order. Members are invited to hold up their orange card to vote for the resolution for Simon to continue. Thank you. To hold up your card if you wish to vote against that resolution. And any who wish to withhold or abstain from the vote. In that case, I think with 1 abstention, we have a full vote in favour of Simon continuing for a further 4 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very, very much. It's a great privilege to be involved with NAViGO. I love being your chairman, and I don't know how I'll ever stop being your chairman. So thank you for another 4 years. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys, really appreciate it. I'm so looking forward to leading the next 4 years. Yeah, I can't wait to get stuck in, get delivering some of that stuff that we've spoken about, and thanks again for your vote of confidence. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll now move on to a special resolution, and this is to amend the NAViGO's Articles of Association. So, Article 66, no person is entitled to hold the position of non-executive director for more than 12 years. So that's the proposal. This would increase the maximum number of years a person may carry out the role of non-executive director by an additional 2 years. So currently it's 10 years and we're going to move it to 12 years. And we've done this to complement the changes that we made last year in the Articles of Association, where we agreed that we could recruit an additional non-executive director. And it will give us a period of stability for the non-executive while a new person is actually embedded into that new non-executive role and the organisation. So the Articles of Association containing the proposed change have been circulated with the AGM notice, and members are therefore now invited to hold up their orange card to vote. So you'll either vote for the resolution and the amended articles, or against the resolution, or to withhold your vote. So if I could firstly take the vote to support the resolution and to change the amended articles so that the maximum term is 12 years rather than 10. If you're in support, could you please raise your voting card? Thank you all very, very much. Thank you. Could you please raise your card if you're against the resolution? Okay, thank you. And could you please raise your card if you'd like to withhold your vote? I therefore take that special resolution as passed. Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll now move on to the ordinary resolution in accordance with company law and NAViGO's own Articles of Association. The ordinary resolution is to authorise NAViGO's Board of Directors to continue to offer 1B ordinary share to each employee of NAViGO for a further 5 years. Members are therefore invited to hold up their orange card to vote. So could you please hold up your card if you're in support of the resolution? Thank you very much. Could you please hold up your card if you're against the resolution? And could you please hold up your card if you wish to withhold your vote? Okay, that ordinary resolution has been passed. Thank you all very much. Thank you. We're now going to move on to look at our finances, and I'd like to invite Anna, our Director of Corporate Services, onto the stage. Anna will be taking us through the financial accounts for the year ending 24-25, so that as members we can formally receive the accounts. Over to you, Anna.
Oh, afternoon, everyone. It is really lovely to see so many of you here today. I just want to take this opportunity actually to say what a fantastic seminar it was this morning, and it's quite an act to follow, so I'm feeling the pressure, but I know how much everyone looks forward to the finances at the AGM. So, what we're going to cover in this session today is just an overview of the NAViGO Group performance for the financial year 24-25. I'm also going to have a look at the future, so this current financial year and beyond. But just a little bit of context. When I talk about the NAViGO Group, what I'm referring to is NAViGO as the parent company. We then have Nurtrio, who joined the NAViGO Group in March 22. We have CAMS Care UK, which is our training offer in relation to the management and reduction of suicidality. We have Grimsby Garden Centre and the Potting Shed. We have Respect Training, which is our management and prevention of behaviours of concern. And we have the Gardner Hill Foundation, which is our chosen charity. So when I present the performance today, the NAViGO Group performance, that is the combined position of NAViGO, Nurtrio, CAMS Care, Grimsby Garden Centre and Respect, and that reflects our consolidated accounts position. So I'm pretty sure when I presented these slides to you all at last year's AGM, I talked about what a challenging financial environment it had been. It's fair to say that's continued this year, and I think if we're being really honest and listening to Simon's slides just now, it is going to continue to be challenging. On the slide here, we've just got some of those examples of why it is so challenging. So first off is cost of living. So it's something we're all experiencing in our personal life, is that basic expenses, so things like fuel, food, energy, it's all going up in price. And that is also impacting the organisations within the NAViGO Group. It's also continued to be a challenging financial environment. So the NHS is going through significant change at the moment. We're not seeing the same levels of investment as we have in the past, and actually the sector as a whole is facing significant financial challenges. Now, because of the cost of living and it costing more, it does now cost us more to do the same each year. So that means each year we need to look at some cost-saving initiatives to make sure that at the end of the year we balance our books. And 24-25 has been no different. We've had another ambitious cost-saving target. And then on top of all of these challenges, we are also seeing demand increasing across our services. So as the slide shows, it does sometimes feel like we're trying to climb a really steep mountain. But in true NAViGO Group style, we are all donning our hiking boots and we're facing that challenge head on. So in this year's presentation, I am going to go straight into the numbers. So this is the part of the AGM where we do receive the accounts. For anyone that's interested in understanding the numbers that I present here in a bit more detail, the accounts are available. There's printed copies with our team at the front, or they will be available on our website. So in summary, for the group, at the end of the financial year 24-25, we saw a total income of just shy of £66 million. But in delivering those services, we had costs of just over £65.5 million. So when we take into account tax, that left us with a small surplus of £287,000. Now that surplus is really important because that is one-off money that we can then reinvest in our capital programme and our assets to help us deliver services in the future. And I'll pick up on that in a bit more detail in future slides. So what we thought might be good is just to do a little bit of a breakdown in terms of that income and the costs. How have we spent the money and how have we earned the money? So in terms of income, the majority, so over 48 million, comes through our main contract with the Integrated Care Board for our children, young people's and adults mental health services. We also have a few additional contracts such as our perinatal team and our forensics team. We've then got £17 million worth of activity and trading income. So that's Nurtrio, that's our trading arms, that's the Toots Cafe, and non-contract activity. So this is when we do things outside of our contract with the Integrated Care Board. And then finally, £392,000 in interest. So this is where we've made our cash work for us in year by investing it to earn interest, and we've then been able to use that to enhance the income for the year. So that's the money that we earned. How did we spend it? What were the costs we incurred? So no surprises, our main cost is payroll, so that's our staff costs. So over 75% of our total expenditure was staff costs. But something I just wanted to highlight is, within the NHS in 24-25, the average spend across NHS organisations was 69.3%. And why that's important is for other organisations such as hospitals, they have expenditures such as expensive equipment like MRI machines, they have to run expensive theatres. We don't have that within our organisation, so we're able to spend more on our staff costs. The challenge with that is when there's a national NHS pay award or there's an uplift to contracts, the amount of money we received is calculated as being 69.3% of our contract value. But our costs are actually over 75%. So that creates us a pressure in year when those things happen. But just moving on in terms of costs, we have other things like service delivery costs. So that's things like external contracts, food delivery, drugs costs, the things that we need to commission to be able to deliver our services. Then we've got building costs, so utility, rent rates, maintenance of all of our buildings. Financial costs are things like tax and bank charges. We've got computer costs, so not only have we got our contract with F4IT, but we've got licenses for our computers and for our software. Goods for resale, that's where we're purchasing things to sell on, so that's predominantly for our garden centre and for our cafes. And then transport costs, so that relates to costs for travel for our service users, our staff, but also for running our fleet of vehicles. So as I said, each year it is costing us more to do the same, so it does mean each year we have to look at cost-saving initiatives to make sure we balance those books at the end of the year. And this year's been no different. So within NAViGO alone, we embarked on quite an ambitious cost-saving programme of work, and that's been split down as shown on this slide. So we did over £480,000 worth of income generation, so through that non-contract activity, and that's things like selling our beds, and particularly our older people's mental health services were involved in that, so thank you for that team for contributing to that income generation. We also had over £860,000 of cost reductions, so there were 21 schemes that we took forward in this year, very much focused on efficiencies within services, through renegotiating our contracts, but also things like looking at our utilities, how we could reduce our gas or our electricity use. But that's also really important because that contributes towards our green plan. And then finally, vacancy factor of over £200,000. So what that means is when we have a role, someone's moving on from their role, where it doesn't impact service delivery, we'll hold that role vacant for a period of time before we recruit a new person into that role. And that helps us deliver what's called a vacancy factor. So in 24-25, we delivered over £1.5 million worth of savings. So it's really important that at the end of each year that we balance our books, but even more so, if we can deliver a surplus, that enables us to reinvest in our capital programme and those one-off kind of big ticket items that help us deliver services moving forward. So in 24-25, what was our capital investment? We spent over £116,000 on our IT refresh. We purchased Heritage House. So as part of our estate strategy and making sure our estates are fit for the future needs of our services, we bought that building. We spent over £300,000 on equipment. So this is very much around the refurbishment of some of our properties, so predominantly Tees House and our 136 suite at Harrison House. And then we had a new property lease in 24-25, and that was for Freshney Green Primary Care Centre, so the centre that Young Minds Matter team are based from. So what I've done here is I've gone through the income and the expenditure for 24-25. So what we're going to do now is have a look at our balance sheet at the end of that year. So what we're looking at first is our long-term assets. So these are the things that the NAViGO group owns. So through being able to generate those surplus amounts and reinvest them, these are the things we now own. So we've got the 2 property leases at Freshney Green and Wheelsby View. We've got our fleet of vehicles. We've got equipment and fittings. So this is where we've invested money in buildings that we lease. And then most significantly, we've got over £5.5 million worth of properties that we've invested in. And that's the 8 properties that are on the screen there. So through investing those surpluses, we now own these assets. These are owned by the NAViGO group. So let's then have a look at our current assets, but also the money that we owe, the downside. So when I talk about current assets, that's our liquid assets. So that's things like cash that we know we're going to need to spend in the next 12 months. And we've got just shy of £22 million. But sadly, we know we also owe some money. So we've got just over £19 million in current liabilities. So they are things we know we're going to have to pay in the next year. So things like our staff costs and our credit card bills. Then we've also got our non-current liabilities. So these are things we also know we need to pay back, but over a much longer period of time. So things like our mortgages and our loans. So if anyone's got a calculator or the super quick numbers, you'll work out that our current assets just about net off everything we own. So what that leaves us with is all of those long-term assets that were on the slide before. So in summary, the 24-25 accounts tell us that we've got a good asset base. So that blue slide, with all of the investment we've been able to make, we've got a good asset base. We continue to have a strong cash position, and that's a really good indication of the strength of an organisation and the health of it. And for another year running, we've got a clean bill of health from our auditors. So I want to say a big thank to Kev and his team, who are sitting up in the wings over there, for achieving that for us, so thank you. And through all the hard work with our budget holders and our finance team, we managed to generate that small surplus of £287,000. And just to highlight why I do keep referring to it as a small surplus, it equates to 0.43% of the total income that came into the group over that financial period. So moving on, so what's next? So as I've said, each year we have to look at a savings plan because it's costing us more to do the same. 25-26 is no different. We've got another challenging savings plan, but I'm positive to say we are currently on track with delivering that. But undoubtedly, it's going to continue to be a really challenging health and social care environment that we're working within, and that is a message that's been echoed by our government and was reflected in what Simon presented earlier. The NHS 10-year plan very much focuses on productivity and efficiency and cost saving, so looking at us doing more for less. And the recent NHS 3-year settlement was less than it has been in previous years. And as Simon mentioned earlier, probably the most concerning for us is the mental health investment standard introduced to safeguard investment into mental health isn't being protected like it used to be. So there are challenging times ahead, but we like a good challenge. In addition to that, we do continue to lobby for equal investment. For those of you that have heard me do this presentation at previous year's AGMs, we do experience scenarios where as a community interest company, we don't get access to the same funding as our NHS mental health trust provider peers. That is something we continue to challenge and lobby against because we want to make sure our local population get fair investment into their local mental health services. So they are challenging times ahead. But to pinch from Simon's slide, we are absolutely a glass half full organisation. We are committed to innovating and transforming our way out of this through good growth. So I think, again, what Simon talked through in terms of the achievements of this year reflect our track record of doing that. But I'm going to finish this presentation with a line very similar to how I finished last year's presentation, and that is that our membership remain our greatest asset. We couldn't do any of this without your innovation, your ideas and your dedication to both our service users and our services. So I just wanted to finish by saying thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Very clear expedition really of the financial position last year and a really solid result for the organisation. So thank you, Anna, and thank you all. Right, we're now going to have a 15-minute break. So could you please be back here in the main auditorium at 25 to 3, where we'll be starting with the Celebrating Diversity seminar before moving on to the AGM awards and Project of the Year. And this is your very last chance to vote for Project of the Year. So please come back in 15 minutes' time. Thank you. the Celebrating Diversity session, and then we'll be announcing the AGM Awards and Project of the Year and Display Board of the Year. So come on down. Could I please ask the stall holders not to take down their stalls during the sessions, but to leave it until the end of the AGM, otherwise it creates too much background noise. Thank you. Right, we're going to make a start. I would like to welcome Toby Ben Babatunde, Sarah Faheen, Michael Okonte and Joe Parks to the stage to lead a discussion around celebrating diversity. Please welcome the Celebrating Diversity team.
Hello and welcome to our Celebrating Diversity presentation. In this session, we will share some of our colleagues' experiences, look at our shared journeys, and highlight some of the actions happening to support our BAME community. First, we want to start with a video that introduces you to some of our colleagues.
Meaningful,
supportive,
empowering,
flexible,
valued,
supportive,
meritocratic,
interesting.
NAViGO is supportive
and inclusive,
educational and progressive. Thank you, NAViGO.
I've had a case where I go to the park to either get some fresh air. I think about 4 kids walk up to me and they actually try to bully me, trying to make me feel less of myself, trying to make me feel less of my color and all that. I felt bullied anyways. I felt bullied, and at work it doesn't happen that way. Like, we are treated as lovely at work, we're treated fair, and that's one thing I know I appreciate about NAViGO.
NAViGO, the organization, have provided with immense support and guidance. NAViGO helped me a lot to complete with my nurse registration process. I have got my PIN in January, and for that, NAViGO have provided with OSCE training. Currently, I'm working in Pelham Lodge as a registered mental health nurse. Thank you so much for NAViGO, the team, providing us with enough training, which is really helping us to get more knowledge and confidence. And I'm really proud to work with NAViGO, and I'm wishing you all best wishes for the team. Thank you so much for caring for us.
I've been working with NAViGO for about a year. My experience with NAViGO has been fantastic. It has been awesome.
Wow! Working in NAViGO has been a wonderful and amazing thing that has happened to me. You see, when you see NAViGO, you see oneness, you see love, you see unity, you see one family. Thank you for your accommodation, for accommodating me into this wonderful family.
Working with NAViGO for about a year now, and my experience has been so fantastic, awesome. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate NAViGO for giving me this opportunity.
We had to cook a meal from different culture. I did cook a meal from Nigeria, and we all sat around the table together with quite great excitement. This really helps us to understand and appreciate individual differences.
I've been working with NAViGO for over a year. I completely appreciate the opportunity given to me. My experience has been wonderful. I say thank you to this reputable organization.
Well, I would say my experience working with NAViGO for about 11 months now has been very fantastic and a memorable one, I must say. Yeah, starting from the supportive pastoral team to the induction process, the leadership style, and my very awesome and wonderful colleagues who have helped me to settle in faster than I imagined. I would say a big thank you to NAViGO family for the opportunity given to me.
I have been working with NAViGO for about 2 years now, and my experience with NAViGO has been awesome. It has been fantastic, so I appreciate you for this opportunity, NAViGO. Thank you.
I found many of my colleagues in NAViGO to be very supportive, and I'll say on the whole, NAViGO is they have a listening ear.
Working with NAViGO has been nothing short of amazing for me. It's been an eye-opening experience. I've grown to be more patient, I've grown to be more kind, I've grown to be more brave and resilient and candid. In fact, NAViGO has given me the time, has given me the space, has given me the opportunity to grow. And I know this is just the beginning. Don't play.
There's a lot of work happening across NAViGO, supporting colleagues, including activities such as the Patient and Carer Race Equality Framework, PCREF, our work with Freedom to Speak Up, and the introduction of the See Me First badge scheme. Thank you, Simon, for mentioning that earlier. Here's Executive Lead for PCREF and Freedom to Speak Up, Anna Morgan, to tell you more. Thank you.
Well, I've not seen that video before, and what an absolutely fantastic video that's been. I keep getting the tough acts to follow, don't I, on the AGM this year? It's been quite emotional. So what I'm going to cover off here is just a quick run through of the Patient and Carer Race Equality Framework. Now I'm going to call it PCREF from this point on, because it's quite a mouthful to come out with that term each time. But this is NHS England's first ever anti-racism framework. So it's a mandatory framework that is designed to tackle racial inequalities and promote anti-racism, specifically within NHS mental health services. It aims to improve equitable access, to improve service user experiences, and to improve outcomes. And it's aiming to achieve this through focusing on 4 specific areas. They are eliminating race inequalities, so to end disparities and to ensure fair and equitable treatment for all individuals, to improve services, so to enhance the quality and accessibility of mental health services for ethnically diverse communities, to promote workforce diversity, to encourage a more diverse and representative workforce within the mental health sector, and fostering co-production, so to actively involve service users, carers, staff and communities to co-design services. Now, delivery of the framework has now forms part of the new CQC inspection regime, so that really reflects how important this framework is. The framework focuses on 3 key areas for organisations. That's leadership and governance. So organisations' boards are expected to lead the establishment and monitoring of plans to deliver and reduce the inequalities. New data will be collected and published to track improvements and hold services accountable for reducing those inequalities, and there's a strong emphasis being placed on establishing transparent and effective feedback loops with communities to inform service developments. So where's NAViGO at with the PCREF journey? So we're still at the very early stages of our journey, but to date we've created a PCREF working group, and we've been completing a self-assessment which has been looking at the framework, then understanding what are the areas within our organisation we need to strengthen to meet the requirements, and that is helping us to develop an action plan. We're also looking at how we can work with other organisations that are undertaking this journey to see how we can learn from their examples and their best practice. We've worked really closely with our BAME network colleagues on completing this self-assessment, and we have already started to move forward with delivering some of the actions from our action plan. That's include things like developing the racial awareness and mutual respect comms campaign that was rolled out earlier this year. In terms of governance and leadership, I've assumed the exec lead for this piece of work, working closely with Toby as our BAME non-exec director, and we're leading the work to develop that PCRESP action plan, and that will be feeding into our newly formed Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Forum, and we will be rolling out racial awareness training across the organisation in the near future. In terms of policy and practice, we are supporting regular cultural diversity events across our teams and services, and we've just seen some examples of that in the video. We are developing our own cultural competency framework and training, and we're implementing the See Me First campaign, which has been launched at the AGM today, and Toby's going to tell us a bit more about that shortly. And we're also continuing to work closely with partners across the Integrated Care Board to deliver this framework. So whilst we are only at the very early stages of our PCREF journey, this is a really important and positive piece of work for the organisation. So if there are any staff or community members that are interested in being involved in this journey, then please do let me know. And then I'm quickly going to move on to freedom to speak up. So within NAViGO, we are an organisation that is committed to learning and continuous improvement. And central to that is hearing about the experiences, the concerns, the ideas of our staff so we can learn from that feedback. We are committed to offering a culture where staff can feel confident to speak up without the fear of detriment or retaliation. And freedom to speak up applies to all of our staff, to our clinical staff, our corporate staff, our trainees and our wonderful volunteers. All of our staff are encouraged to speak up about anything that gets in the way of providing good and safe care or affects their working life. There are a number of ways that our staff can speak up within our organisation. You can raise a concern with your line manager or a member of our senior team. You can take out a grievance if you feel we've not followed process. Whistleblowing disclosures can also be supported, and raising a complaint or a concern via our Patient Advice and Liaison Service, our PALS team. We also encourage you to offer suggestions for improvements. So sometimes things aren't bad, but they could be even better. And we've spent a lot of time developing different routes to enable you to raise those suggestions. So why is it important to speak up? It's so important because it enables us to protect the safety of our staff and our service users and ensures lessons are learned and offers an opportunity for us to continuously improve our services for both our service users accessing our services and our staff working within our services and within our organisation. In May of this year, the National Guardian's Office published a review that concluded that overseas workers feel reluctant to speak up. Now, within NAViGO, we are committed to ensuring all of our overseas colleagues feel supported and empowered to speak up, and this is something we're working really closely with our BAME network on. Across our organisation, we have many routes available to staff to speak up, as demonstrated on this slide, and we are committed to develop and speaking up arrangements alongside our overseas colleagues to ensure our culture is inclusive and everyone feels confident and able to speak up. But it's fair to say we're not doing too bad a job at the moment. So in the 2024 staff survey, we saw a year-on-year improvement in our staff feeling safe and secure to speak up and raise concerns. With a high level of confidence, the organisation will do something to address those concerns. But we're always aspiring to do better. So if there are things we can do to make our freedom to speak up arrangements more inclusive and for all staff groups to feel even more confident to speak up, then please do let me know, because your voice really does matter. So I'm now going to hand over to Toby, who's going to tell us a bit more about the See Me First campaign.
Thank you. The See Me First initiative is for the betterment of all staff to equitably achieve their potential without barriers, and for patients to be seen without judgment, challenging health inequalities. This initiative was developed by the staff at Wintington Health NHS Trust in London, the founders, Beverly Senior, Delia Mills, and Paul Atwell, began with the aim to drive real change in the organization's culture and increase the visibility of race equality issues. It was launched during the COVID-19 pandemic It forms part of a commitment to having zero tolerance for any form of discrimination, and that staff who are subjected to such behavior are supported to speak up and challenge this behavior in a safe way. The See Me First message is to listen to build genuine awareness of the barrier faced by people from Black, Asian, and minority ethnic groups. Speak up and encourage others to do so via freedom to speak out guardian and other internal routes. Support colleagues by moving from being a bystander to an upstander. Challenge structural racism and foster a culture where all experiences, skills, and ideas are valued. Seek support of allies to help ensure equal opportunities and fair treatment in the workplace for all. Teach the sharing of culture and traditions, particularly on significant dates, such as the Black History Month in October, the Diwali, South Asian Heritage Month, and others. It includes all staff to make equity a reality for all, influence colleagues to understand that race and ethnicity should be acknowledged, appreciated, respected, and not topics to be avoided. Impact the achievement of sustainable organizational change, and promote all staff networks and opportunities for colleagues to come together to share experiences and views and raise concern about inequality. Supporting the See Me First. NAViGO is made up of many nationalities, serving an increasingly diverse population. We want to continually improve our service user and staff experiences through our commitment as an organization to uphold the ethos and values of See Me First. Everyone who wears the See Me First badge makes a pledge that says they are sending a message that they belong to an open, non-judgmental, and inclusive organization that treats all Black, Asian, and minority ethnic people with dignity and respect. They are symbolizing that they uphold the values of listening and speaking up. They are reminded that people should not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The See Me First badge, although not an exact science, aims to represent different levels of melanin in skin tones. Making a pledge to support demonstrates the commitment to support racial equity, where listening and speaking up are valued and encouraged. The initiative has been included in the NHS 5-year National Race Equality Strategy, and their research suggests that patient experience and outcomes are linked directly to staff experience. Pledge your support, and by wearing the See Me First badge and send out the collective message of equity, diversity, and inclusivity, enabling staff to equitably achieve their full potential without barriers and to be seen for who they are without judgment. How do I sign up? We've got a stall, we've got diversity stand right at the back of the stall, and you can sign up and pick up a pin. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening. So I'm going to call on Joseph and the team for the live discussion part of the presentation. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our discussion today on celebrating diversity at the NAViGO AGM as well 2025. So I'm delighted to be joined in conversation by Michael, Michael works for the Crisis Treatment at Home in Older People's Services. He's originally from Nigeria and has been here for 3 years with NAViGO. We also have Sarah joining us as well. Sarah works for the Data Systems and Insight team. She's originally from India, and she's also worked for NAViGO for 3 years. So let's give them a big warm welcome. Hello both of you, welcome. Thank you for joining me first of all. So we saw a video earlier there, listening to people's stories about how they came to the UK and their sort of journey into NAViGO. Sarah, could you tell us a little bit about how that journey started for you?
It was not an easy journey. It was when our cousins and friends started moving out of India, and then we thought we should explore a new country as well, because we had already lived in Dubai before, and I started applying for jobs. But Europe was a bit difficult because of language barrier, and then we thought we'd stick to UK because it's all English, and we had already studied English in our academics. But I was from a retail background, so I started applying for jobs for Ocado and other bits. But it was a bit difficult to get the job because they had completely different skill sets. And one day one of my friends mentioned about NHS having data warehouse developer roles as well. I started applying, but it was like no luck. I applied for like 118 applications, and it was all straight rejections because I did not have any healthcare experience. NAViGO was the 4th organization who invited me for the interview, but I didn't have any positive hope again because I had no healthcare experience. After a week of the interview and I get a positive reply, I was in cloud 9, and then we thought, yeah, we are saying yes.
And is it true you had other interviews lined up at this point?
I did have 2 more lined up in the next week, but I wrote to them saying I'm about to accept the job offer because I had to let someone else take that option.
You'd found where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. And so once you had that opportunity come and you think, oh great, I've got the job at NAViGO, what was the next step for you?
The visa bits, yeah. It was happening in background, so NAViGO had already given us the details, what we'd need, and we had applied for the visa, but it was a bit difficult, again, the housing bits. We started looking for houses on Rightmove and Zoopla, and then we thought, yeah, we'd just pick one, and then but it was again a bit different. No one wanted to give a house because we did not have any credit history in the UK. And that was when NAViGO stepped in again. NAViGO became the guarantor, and Jolie from Workforce would just go do the viewings for us.
And did she sort of go around?
Yeah, she would video call us.
So you'd be on like a video call and sort of seeing...
Yeah, show the properties, yeah.
It's amazing that they offered that support, so you didn't just turn up and go, oh gosh, what house have I picked now?
Yeah.
You had that support within NAViGO, that's fantastic. And Michael, I know your experience was a little bit different from what Sarah went through.
Yes, my experience with NAViGO is quite different from Sarah's. Coming into NAViGO was like a difficult time for me and my family. It was a time in my family where my grandma was very sick. I'm from a very big family, so we had a meeting and everyone agreed that we take turns in caring for my grandma, because most countries abroad you don't have NHS, so you have to pay for your care. So I was among the younger ones, so I was sent for training, a caregiver training, an intensive one, to help you support the frail and elderly people. So I learned everything I needed to get my grandma back on her feet. So after a while, she recovered. She's 100 plus, she's still alive today. She recovered and she's back. She got her independence back. She's back in her own house. And I said, wow, I love what I've done. I originally trained as an engineer, so there were transferable skills to care, like patient, keen for details, empathy, and so many more. So I started applying for NHS, and NAViGO got back to me. I did the interview, and They gave me an offer. The visa went very smoothly, and the onboarding process was fantastic. I've worked in other jobs, but the onboarding process in NAViGO is excellent. They supported me, and I give them a thumbs up for that.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. And you said, how old's your grandmother now?
She's 100 plus, 102.
102, wow, yeah. Incredible. I think we do a round of applause for that, yeah. So earlier, Sarah, we were talking about you mentioned applying for a visa, and what sort of does that entail then, that visa application?
Because Michael is from a medical background. He came on a healthcare visa. It was a bit different for me because I had to be under the general skilled worker visa, and that's completely different. When we do a general skilled worker visa, we have to pay to access NHS services, which is like, it was previously £624, but now it's increased to £1,035 per year per person.
So you're having to pay that 3 times, aren't you? With
yeah, for my family as well.
And that's every year as well, is it? Wow. So that's, a lot as well. Even if you need the NHS or not, you've sort of paid in for that support. That's amazing. Thank you very much for that. Michael, you were saying about once you'd sort of come here and you had that support from NAViGO, could you sort of explain a little bit more about the support that NAViGO has offered you when you were coming in?
Yes, so I was just talking with Sarah, and Sarah arrived some months before me. So I think Sarah, they were among the first set of people that came to NAViGO. So when I arrived in August 2022. But before I arrived, NAViGO arranged pickup for us from the airport. I arrived Heathrow, so it was a long drive down to Grimsby. It was like I spent more time on the road than in the air. So when we got to Grimsby, they already arranged accommodation because it was a tussle getting accommodation for people coming abroad, because they want to see your credit score, and because there's a lot of people who we get into your accommodation and it's very difficult to eject them out if they're not paying you bills. So it's quite difficult. When NAViGO stepped in, they gave us about 3 months. They gave us 3 months, with an option to stay in the building and keep paying for the rent or move out if you get something better. So that was one of the greatest support NAViGO gave. Helped us get some staff. They got some staff to take you to your GP, to register for your GP, because we don't even do things like that. You go to your own, you have your own doctors back home.
They managed to give you all that information
support,
and
doing
support.
Your onboarding,
That's amazing. Thank you so much. So I'm really excited now to say that we're going to show a short video made by Rachel and Anita that explains a little bit about their cultural backgrounds and their experiences coming here to the UK.
One part of my culture that I can say that I bring to the workplace is regarding family, obedience, and our spiritual values.
Personally, for me, I think one thing that is really important in my culture is respect, and it fits so well working with NAViGO, and I'm really glad to bring in that to my workplace.
I can remember one moment when I met one of the new staff that had lived in New Zealand for many years. And when I met her, I was able to greet her in the native Maori New Zealand greeting. And that brought me so close to home. Working for NAViGO over the 10 years, I find that the company has grown in size and the diversity of people. It has made me think a lot about how I approach my colleagues because of their cultural backgrounds. I cannot assume that this fits you know, this person and this fits another person. I think we should, as BAME members, should support this BAME network, bringing our voices together to be heard.
I think the only time it's probably because of the accent, like when you speak and then people tend not to hear what you say at the first time. They keep repeating yourself till they get to hear what you're saying, but that's it.
I am a minority, and I feel that a lot of times this is overlooked, and people just assume that because of you fit that cultural look, or you know, it's assumed that you are from that country. But I feel that my values, where I come from is not recognized. Yeah.
Be patient with yourself. Just be patient with yourself. Starting a whole new career in a whole new country can really be overwhelming, to say, but don't forget your skills, your experiences are valuable, and just know that you have something unique to offer too, so just be going.
Before coming to the country, study the culture of this country, of UK. There's many areas that you can learn that will help through your career as a newcomer to the UK.
If you need help, if you need support, you can as well just ask, and you get all the support you need, and also try and learn from people around you. If the UK workplaces can keep moving towards inclusion and diversity where everyone kind of belongs, that means valuing people's different backgrounds, you know, creating opportunities fairly for everyone, and also creating like a safe space where everyone's voice can actually be heard.
There's a famous quote, and I enjoyed this when I read it. It's by Dalai Lama, and it says, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion.
Wonderful video there. So thank you for joining me again. So Sarah, I know we've spoken quite a bit about the sort of positive experience that you've had here with NAViGO, but I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your experiences outside of NAViGO and how you've sort of managed to find a sort of community.
It was when we were trying to move. One day my manager, she emailed me that she looked at my application and she saw that I'm a Muslim, and that she knew someone who was a Muslim too, and then she had just given their contact number for us to just have a talk, and when we arrive here, that would be like a moral support. And when we spoke to them, they arranged for a pickup from Manchester Airport, and yeah, again NAViGO supported there.
So they even helped you sort of find that community outside of the workplace as well, which is so important when you're obviously going somewhere you don't know people.
Yeah. We were in constant touch because I was the first international recruit for a non-medical role. So every day my manager or someone from workforce would be in touch with me. So every day we would just get to know some new person even before we arrived here.
That's amazing, and it sounds like they wanted to make sure, like you say, as the first person to do that, they were sort of talking to you and making sure that there was a structure in place for you, which is really, really great to hear. Michael, you're a little bit different. You have family here in the UK, isn't that right?
Yeah, when I was planning to come to the UK, I spoke to some of my cousins that live all over UK, so Manchester, Liverpool, and everywhere in the UK, and I was asking questions. What they told me is quite different when I arrived in Grimsby, because Grimsby is a little town, and the people in Grimsby are really, really helpful and they're lovely. I know there have been some setbacks like cultural setbacks, accent, where you speak is quite different from the way they speak, and sometimes you are misconstrued. But with time, the barrier helped me to improve myself and do better. So that's a bit of my own take.
Yes. And obviously, coming to a new country, there must be quite a lot of sort of cultural shocks that you experience at all. I mean, did you, Michael, experience anything that you were like, oh, I didn't expect this to happen?
Yeah, so I was born in Nigeria, the western part of Nigeria, Lagos. Lagos is more busy than London, I would say. And in Lagos, the Westerners, they are very cultural. When it comes to discipline and respect, they don't take it lightly. For instance, as a typical Lagos-born child, when you see someone elderly or older than you, it doesn't matter how old, a year, more than a year, when you see them, you greet them and you bow your head in respect. It shows that you are home-trained and well-trained. And when you see someone who is really elderly, you bow, and when they extend their hand, they tap you like, well done. That's a bit of a cultural shock I experienced when I came to the UK. And you see people older than you trying to shake you. For the men, if the men try to shake you, you must be a chief, and they don't shake boys because you need to do some ceremony to become a chief or a man. So you don't just go around shaking people. But you see people hugging and shaking. It was quite a cultural shock. But you see people stretching out to shake you, and you're trying to bow, and you could come across as being timid, or you're a weirdo or something. But with time, I got used to the culture.
Yeah,
that was one of the cultural shock. Another cultural shock I experienced is when you see the elderly going around with some elderly women go around with bags and stuff. Maybe after work, see people dragging the trolleys and stuff, and you try to help. You say, oh, it comes across like you're coming to snatch a bag off them, because in the UK, everyone carries the bag. But back abroad, when you see an elderly person picking even a glass cup, you try to help them and support them. So it's one of those cultural shocks, because if you try to say, oh, thank you, and because you don't want to be told like told off or something, you just step back. That was another cultural shock I faced when I arrived here.
Thank you. Yeah, I can imagine that would shock. But yeah, it's just those differences. Sarah, have you sort of had any experiences of these?
Yeah, when I was signing my contract, I saw that it was 37.5 hours a week. I was a bit in shock because I had to clarify if it was a part-time job, because back home, it's 45 to 50 hours is the normal working hours, and 37.5 was very less. But then my manager did mention that it's full-time and not to worry about that. And the other one was when I came here, and then I would be in office for a while until I got settled. So everybody would say, would you like to grab some dinner with me? Dinner? That's something what we eat in the evening, like at night. And I was okay for, I didn't speak about it until like 2 or 3 days, and then when they asked, like, what do you call it dinner? I thought it's supposed to be lunch, or am I mistaken? That's when they said it's like breakfast, dinner, and tea.
That's a very Grimsby-based thing, I think. It's, yeah, that's sort of 10 miles anyway, you'll be fine, yeah. So obviously, we're talking about diversity. If somebody was to come over to the UK and work now, is there a bit of advice that you'd wish you'd known before you'd got here, or something that you would share with them now?
I would mention about the income tax, because when we came, there was someone else with us, like we just met them, and it was a bit surprise for them when even they were with NHS, and it was a bit of a shock for them when they saw their payslip. They had received very less from what they had been offered. They had no idea about income tax, so they thought whatever the full package is, they're going to get the full salary. They had no idea about income tax. So there are many groups where you can just go and see and then talk to people when you're coming. There are many to help. So yes, I would give them that advice to join some support group before they come, so that they would know what UK is.
Perfect, thank you. And do you have any advice you'd offer to someone, Michael?
Of course, I would tell people coming abroad for the first time, don't isolate yourself. People isolate themselves out of fear because they don't want to be among the wrong groups. Don't isolate yourself. Trust the process. Learn, keep learning, and growth will happen. And NAViGO Workplace is one of the best workplaces I've ever worked. And NAViGO give you room to grow. If you put in the work, there's someone always watching, there's someone always seeing. NAViGO has been a wonderful place. All your hard work, all your effort never goes unnoticed in NAViGO. We tell people who are coming abroad to join the workforce, put in the work, be patient, learn, unlearn, relearn.
Perfect. Oh, well, thank you very much. Well, in a moment, I will be handing over to Jane Lewington, who will be presenting the AGM Staff Awards. But before I do that, let's have a big round of applause and a thank you to Michael and Sarah. Thank you. And Jane Lewington, everyone.
Thank you so much to Toby, to Sarah, Michael, Joe, and Anna. Thank you. Great slot. Thank you so much. Right, before we launch in to announcing the results in the AGM Awards, I'm just going to announce the winners of the Gardner Hill raffle that's been running today. So the first prize winner is ticket number 13, Kerry Walker, if she's here. If not, Gardner Hill will find you later on. And if you go to the Gardner Hill stand in the main foyer to collect your prize, you've got a choice of 3. Second prize is ticket 17, Charlene Smaller. Woo! And the third prize is ticket number 5, Anna Peterson. So again, if you go to the Gardner Hill stand, thank you so much. Thank you. Right, let's move on to the AGM Awards. And we're going to start with the Newcomer Award. So I get the privilege of presenting the first 3, and then we'll move on to Paul and Richard presenting the other categories. So if we could have the shortlisted entries, we have that. So we had 3 on the shortlist. We have, I'm bringing them out in that order, Kerry Walker from One Front Door, Levi Woolis from the Meet and Greet team at Harrison House, and Chika Frank Ugwazor from Konar Ward. I have to say that this has been an incredibly difficult task this year. I was judging 3 categories and I had over 100 nominations to review. So it was, I mean, every prize could have been awarded 5 or 6 times. It was amazing, the breadth really and the depth of really, you know, the recognition that people wanted to give to their colleagues, to their outstanding contributions. So I'm now going to announce the winner of the Newcomer Award. The winner of the Newcomer Award has been described as caring of service users, relatives and colleagues, willing to turn a hand to any task, able and willing to teach others, always smiling and friendly, and works tirelessly to make people's lives better. The Newcomer Award goes to Chika Ugwuzu of Konar Ward. The next award is Star Individual. There were over 45 nominees in this category alone, and the shortlisted entries were Dr. Nicola Airy, Helen Needham from the Children in Care team, Dr. Joanne Phillip from the CMHT, and Mark Perry, Senior Support Worker at Hope Court. The winner of the Star Individual Award has been described as being an adored and loved member of the team, happy to share their knowledge and experience, and happy to support colleagues in challenging situations. They are warm and empathetic, and very much looked up to. For over 40 years, this person has been a mental health nurse They have created meaningful change for countless children with complex needs, and the winner of the Star Individual Award is Helen Needham. And the final category that I will announce is the Star Team. Shortlisted were the Access Team, Early Intervention, and the Quality Team. The winning Star Team has and continues to face significant challenges, with soaring demand for their service, with an intense recruitment campaign being run to fill gaps in their staff numbers. Not only have they supported each other brilliantly during this difficult time, they've also taken on board many new ways of working and shown true resilience day in and day out. The winners of the Star Team are the Access Team. Well done. I'd now like to invite Dr. Paul Darby onto the stage. Paul will present the Shine a Light Annie Darby Award. Paul?
So this is the third year for the Annie Darby Shine a Light Award. Nice to see some very strong entries this year. The award is about innovation and operating across barriers and outside conventional boxes. The winner this year is our nominated children's safeguarding nurse. Amongst other things, she's developed very strong links between NAViGO and other organisations such as Focus. And for some time, she also led the safeguarding team as a whole. She puts the service users at the heart of every decision. She has been equally supportive of many other staff members. And as the sponsor says, she is a light that shines through the darkness. So the winner is Emma Gorvet.
Thank you, Paul. Well done, Emma. So could I now invite Richard Rudd, one of our community members, and Richard is going to present the next two awards, starting with the Unsung Hero Award. Richard, over to you.
Afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, great to be. This is my first AGM, and as such, I volunteered for everything. Learning's there. So, without further ado, what I'd like to do is announce the winner of the Unsung Hero Award. There was a short list. You see there, we've got Andy Kluwer, Emma Hansen, and Michelle Evans. And it was, with all of these decisions, it's really tough. The standard and the category, the standard of exceptionality across the board, again, was really difficult to sort of work out. So we did decide to do this shortlist. So the winner, however, of those three for this year, 2025, is Emma Hansen. So the second award that I'm going to present today, Volunteer of the Year Award, and again, is there a short list of that? Yeah, brilliant. Awkward. Yeah, myself and Alex White, so thank you so much. No. And the winner of 2025 Volunteer of the Year Award is Alex White.
Thank you very much. Richard is actually going to stay on stage because he's now going to announce the winner of the display board competition. So back to the microphone, Richard.
Hello again. So you know that bit I said about the first time I've been to an AGM, volunteer for everything. So again, the display boards, having looked around, absolutely blown away with the attention to detail, the time and the effort, not just of the staff, but getting the service users involved. Really sort of amazing piece of work. So you should all be proud of the effort you've all put in today. So again, I believe we were going to fetch up. No, we're not. There's a short list. However, I would like to announce that the winner of the display board for 2025 is the IPS and One Front Door team. Yeah, we'll do.
Well done. I've got the short list. So the winners were IPS One Front Door, second were NHS Talking Therapies, and third was Early Intervention. And it was very, very close, I understand. Right. One of the big results of the day Project of the Year winners. So just a reminder, the entrants were Breathing Space at Hope Court, Early Intervention Holistic Wellbeing, the Seasonal Perinatal Buggy Fitness Classes, Sing Along and Well Vend. We better open the box. Oh, it's close. It's very close. We might have to count. I think it's perinatal. But I think we need to validate the result. I think we need to actually do a count. It's incredibly close. And, the other winner, well, I can't call it. It's too close to call. It's between Early Intervention and Holistic Wellbeing and the vending machine, and you cannot tell visually which it is. We're going to need to count. So, how do we get them out? How do we... Do all three? Are you sure, Simon? You know what I told you the other day? Do all three. Right. We will do perinatal, extending the buggy classes into autumn and winter. We will do the holistic well-being, which was the summer house, I think, for the allotment, and the healthy vending machine at Harrison House. Thank you all very much. That was exciting, wasn't it? Never had one that close before. Right, closing comments. I'm conscious it's been a very full and busy day for everyone, and therefore I'm not going to hold you up too long in terms of closing comments, but there are some thank yous that need to be said for those many people who've made today happen and for those who've really participated and thrown themselves into today's programme, both staff and volunteers. I'd like to thank the Sequoia team. Who can forget that seminar this morning? So powerful. And the members of the BAME network for sharing their stories and their thoughts about their experiences here with us at NAViGO. And also to Joe for so ably facilitating. I'd like to thank the auditorium staff for all of their support, not just today, but also in the lead up to the AGM. There's lots of work that you don't get to see in the lead up to the AGM, and we always get unfaltering support from the staff here at the auditorium. They do a grand job. Thanks, as always, to the tremendous team at Chooks for the fabulous lunch. And thank you to the ever-generous Clive Danes for doing all of the photography at the AGM. Thanks to everyone in the corporate affairs team for all their work over the last few months in organising today. They meet every week for about 4 to 5 months before today to get everything organised, and also for all of the marshalling that they've done today and keeping me on track. Thanks to all of the staff, the members, the carers and service users who took the time and trouble to build and man the display boards. And a final thank you to all of you for coming today to celebrate another successful year for the NAViGO family. And here's to doing it all again next year. Thank you all very much.